And we are back. Welcome back to the nOw podcast. This week we're going to be talking about what you see that direction, Extreme Rules 2014. We're also going to be talking about the week of wrestling this week. I'm doubling again. I bet you I know how to fix it though.
Yeah, it's fixed now. Drink it in,
Thank you, Rated, for the sub. So as you guys know, my name is Cody. I'm here with my tag team partner, Trevor, and we have a very special guest today, Devin, better known as DKA.
Hey, it's DKA.
Thank you, Rated, for the host. So how we're going to start these things off when we do have a special guest, we're going to talk to the guest a little bit and get how they came into wrestling. So, Dev, if you don't mind telling us a short story on how you got into wrestling and maybe your first show that you went to see.
Oh, wow. Honestly, I was a baby when I first started watching. I remember my brother would watch it on Saturday, and I'd see Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior, and I was very enamored with it, and I just never stopped. As you know, I got a little bit older, into 8 or 9, and that's when I found WCW. When I first got cable for the first time, and I got really into WCW, and then I branched over to WWF, and I would have my friend record Raw, and I would watch Nitro, and then we'd swap tapes so that we could watch the other show at the same time. It was a whole big thing. I went to a SmackDown probably in the 8th grade. My dad took me to a SmackDown, and that was pretty awesome. But yeah, I've just been a big fan since I was very little, and I've never stopped.
Yeah, that kind of seems to be the thing with most wrestling fans is most of us got into it really young. A lot of us actually kind of took a little break in the teenage years. Not all of us, but I know I took a break because it wasn't the cool thing to do. And I actually didn't get back into it until I had kids and my son wanted to watch it, and we both got sucked into the storylines, and we've been watching ever since he was a baby again. So I'm 7 years back into it, but I've caught back up with everything that I missed.
That's awesome. Yeah, I took a small little break when I was in boot camp, but that was not intentional, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other than that, I have not stopped since I started. Sometimes I'm more into it than others. Sometimes I'll go a couple weeks and I won't even watch, and I'll just catch up online, see what's going on. But lately, it's I watch almost everything. I haven't really watched NWA or Ring of Honor or Impact much, but other than that, I've been trying to keep up with everything.
All right, perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start with This Week in Wrestling. Did you guys both watch this week?
Yep.
Or what didn't you guys watch? Did you guys watch everything as far as AEW and everything?
Yeah, I did. I didn't watch Impact, and I watched the Hulu version of Raw, so it edited a little bit of stuff out, so I didn't get to see the Viking Raiders match and whatever else they edited out for the Hulu version. But other than that, I've pretty much watched everything this week.
Yeah, I watched everything except Impact.
No problem, Will. Thanks for showing up. And like I said before, anybody that shows up tonight, I am going to be selfish, and I am going to take that bribery, and you will be booked in 2 weeks if you are here. Trevor and DK, you guys are both safe because you guys are stuck here with me.
Yes.
So, like I said, we're going to talk about the week in wrestling. We're going to do it in chronological order. So we're going to go ahead and talk about Raw first. Did you guys have any initial thoughts about Raw?
It wasn't a great Raw after Mania. I mean,
they've set us up to really expect amazing things for the Raw after Mania, and probably part of it was not having the audience. But yeah, it did not hold up to most Raws after Mania.
Yeah, that's kind of how I thought of it. Raw after Mania is supposed to be this big spectacle, and you're supposed to have a big surprise championship matches for all. That's definitely going to go into effect. Yeah, but you're supposed to have big surprises, maybe a call up from NXT.
Championship match for all.
This week we really didn't have much of anything. I mean, we had Charlotte, which was cool and everything like that. But other than that, no NXT call ups. Just kind of felt like a basic show.
They did the Rhea Ripley, was called up just recently, and so maybe they're kind of thinking of that as counting, even though it was more like a month or two ago. But yeah, like I was expecting, maybe somebody like Killian Cross maybe, but yeah, there's just no callbacks. Or maybe like they're teasing, and we're getting a little ahead, but they're teasing, maybe Roderick Strong is leaving NXT, so maybe something's going along there with that. But I guess we'll see.
I thought maybe Ciampa would come up since he lost to Walter, and it was just
I was thinking we could have got Ciampa. We could have possibly got Adam Cole this week. Maybe not on Raw, but maybe SmackDown. But we got nothing. Nothing at all.
Maurice?
We did get Maurice. Thank you, Ty, for the 200 bits. Hip hip hooray!
Also, what was that in the beginning with Lashley and the people standing around cheering him? And like, he's a heel. People aren't supposed to cheer him.
Yeah, so I mean, we did have. We started out Raw with Bobby Lashley. This led into Bobby Lashley versus
Riddle.
versus Riddle. I always want to say Matt Riddle, but I tried to stop myself, and it just ended up like that.
People aren't allowed to have two names.
Yeah, people aren't allowed to have two names nowadays.
This past week on the bump, they had Riddle and RVD were together, and people were like, Riddle and RVD finally met, and I was I had to be a troll. I was like, do they know they met?
They probably don't. Realistically.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, so I mean, we had Bobby Lashley versus Riddle. Pretty standard match, but Lashley went ahead and took the win. Pretty much as expected. I don't think anybody really thought anything different was going to happen there.
Yeah, they've kind of worked Riddle into this point where he seems strong, but he doesn't get those big wins.
After this, we had a short little thing with Rhea Ripley backstage, as she was going to have a rematch that night with Asuka. She was pretty much just talking about how confident she was in herself, and everything like that. It was pretty short, pretty sweet. It gave us a good taste of what was to come. The next match we had on the card was Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander versus the returning Viking Raiders. So that is a return we did get. But then again, we get it to pretty much a shutdown of Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander.
Yeah, I watched a short video of it since it was edited out of the Hulu version of Raw, but I mean, technically, it was only a return for Ivar since Eric was just there like a month ago chasing after the 24/7 title.
Yep.
So, but it would have been nice if they had given him like one of the really cool, elaborate entrances for this. I think that would have been more of a big deal. Because the Viking Raiders have some pretty cool entrances.
And they did get new helmets, which I thought their helmets were pretty cool. But it's pretty much the same gimmick, which I wouldn't have changed it anyway. It's a good gimmick as long as they get booked properly. Their finisher I've never really liked because they botched it a lot. Is a complex finisher, the pop up into the power slam. But other than that, this match was pretty decent for what it was worth. Trevor, do you have anything to say about this match?
I don't like that they squashed Shelton and Cedric. Just like they were just recently the tag champs, and then you just under a 5-minute match. I think it was less than 5 minutes.
Yep. It's pretty much when they were put in that position to face the returning Viking Raiders, who were a dominant team before they were taken off TV.
Makes you really worried about what's going on with Cedric and Shelton if they're just gonna like fade off into the distance.
And that's what I think's gonna happen.
Be repackaged or separated or what? And it kind of feels like, why did they pull them away from the Hurt Business in the first place if they're just gonna do nothing?
Mm-hmm. No, I completely
they should
agree.
have been removed from the Hurt Business.
Travis said, I'll never understand why they did what they did to the Hurt Business. I think we all agree on that. Is way too soon.
Unless there's something big that we just don't know about that's going to go to the, like, maybe they're adding somebody else to the Hurt Business, it's going to be huge. But
I mean, at the end of the night.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later because it's not going to be Cedric and Shelton. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. After this, we did have Charlotte Flair coming out and doing a very good promo, typical Charlotte fashion. She came out and pretty much said how she was disappointed in WrestleMania, and that nobody on the roster, she called out multiple people. She said nobody holds a candle to her. So typical Charlotte. She did look a lot skinnier. I don't know if what she did on the way out, but it doesn't look like she was working out nearly as much. I don't know if that was just me.
Didn't she have COVID?
I think she did have. She did have a brief thing of COVID. I know she was originally out because she did have an implant pop and it got her really sick because of it. But that's the main reason she was out. I think she did get COVID during her time out, but that was pretty much it.
Let's like steer away from like commenting on how her physical appearance is, and let's talk more about like what she's doing when she's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, she had a great promo, and like I said, she called out.
So.
You don't agree with her promo ability?
I think her promo is very one-dimensional. She comes up here and she starts yelling at you about how she's better than everyone else, and that's just where she stays, and it's pretty boring to me, to be honest. There's no levels, there's no peaks and valleys with her promo.
I mean, I get where you're coming from because she sticks with the same gimmick. She really doesn't jump around a lot, but I think that the promos that she does do are very well in the avenue that she takes. But again, everybody's not going to have the same opinions on that. Right. But I personally like her promo ability.
Maybe I'm biased because I've just never been a big Charlotte fan.
And that'll do it.
I don't see what everybody sees in her. Like, I don't think she's horrible, but I definitely don't think she's the best women's wrestler on the roster, or even in the top 5, to be honest.
I think she's a good wrestler. I just think they give her the belt way too much, just so she can catch up to her dad.
Yeah, and I mean that's why I think they've been giving it to her so much. Is I think she's going to be the one that breaks her dad's record before anybody else does.
Yeah.
After this, we had the Raw Women's title match, Asuka versus Rhea Ripley, which ended up in a no contest because of, you guessed it, Charlotte Flair.
She's gotta be in the spotlight.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't see this one coming. I did think they were going to finish the match because we did see Charlotte just before this. But, I mean, she's thrown herself into the main title picture, which is where she's going to be pretty much her entire career.
I think she could use some more, like to change up her moveset a little bit. Her movements are awkward, and I really hate that moonsault she does because she lands on her feet, and it doesn't even look like she hits anybody.
Which one are you talking about?
Like, the moonsault she does from the top rope.
Oh, to the outside. Yeah.
Like, it's usually on 2 people, and she usually lands right in between them, and usually, like, if she connects, it's barely. And she, like, lands on her feet, which I'm like, that does not look good on your knees. Like, why are you landing on your feet?
That's actually how Xavier Woods blew out his Achilles.
Yeah, it just looks awkward on her.
Bat said that it was a kind of good match before the interruption, which I would agree with that. But they also put on a good match at WrestleMania, and I don't think it was close to that.
Of course. Asuka and Ripley, I could watch that all day long.
Yeah,
Travis,
those are both
Travis
very good
said,
women.
"I'd love for Charlotte to learn some lucha style from Andrade," which
I think it'd
possible.
be hard for her because she could definitely base, but she's one of the taller
Yeah, she's very
women's
tall.
wrestlers. So it's gonna be hard, and that's why I think that moonsault looks weird that she does is because she's so tall.
But Andrade is also big for somebody that has the lucha style. Andrade is fairly large for that. I mean, he's 6'2", 6'3", probably 230 pounds. Yeah, he's tall. He's the same height, if not a little bit taller than Seth, who Seth is, I believe, 6'2".
All right, I thought he was shorter than that.
Yeah, he was taller than Bobby Roode. I know that from when they had their match in NXT. Which
Bobby Roode is one of those guys that looks taller than they are.
He's pretty short. Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrade's build is 5'9".
Ty said, "I'd love for Charlotte to I take more of a manager role for new talent. I think she'd make a great mouthpiece for other women." Not yet. I mean, I think that her ability is still there. Yeah, I mean, if she didn't want to wrestle, great. But she is, in my opinion, she's very, very good in the ring. She's been a natural since she started.
My criticisms for her aren't that she can't wrestle. She can wrestle. She has wrestling ability. I just don't think she's as great as everybody says she is.
Yeah, I think your hate or not necessarily hate, but your dislike more comes from how much she's been shoved down our throat, kind of the same as Roman was for a while. Yeah. Even though that's a completely different story. Roman's turned it around, and now people that did hate him are all on his side.
Nope.
Most people. We'll say most people. So after this match, we had a break from some action. And then we had some replays of the women's tag team championship match. Let's see. We had Alexa Bliss in her playground backstage explaining to why she did what she did. Basically saying that she was rescued by the darkness, and the darkness is going to protect her and everything like that. And she's pretty much become that gimmick. Her gimmick has become bigger than the Fiend at this point in time.
And she introduced a new friend.
She did. Lily.
A little puppet.
Yep. Yeah, Lily, which Lily. I just have a feeling we're going to get Lily versus Abigail the Witch here shortly. And then we actually get The Miz and Maurice. We get a little... I'm blanking on the word. We had a sort of a promo more for Miz TV. John Morrison was there as well.
They definitely made it seem like Morrison was third wheeling, and I don't know if that's like a tease for a split, or maybe it's a tease for a love triangle. But I'm very curious to see where this is going.
Yeah, let's hope for the first one, because the last love triangle we got was Rusev and Lana and Bobby Lashley, which was not good.
I just hope that they don't do wrong by Morrison, because I've been a big Morrison fan ever since I saw him on Tough Enough, and I'm worried that they're gonna keep making him play. They're doing a pretty good job about letting him feel equal to Miz, but I'm worried that they're gonna make him play second fiddle to Miz, and like break them up, and then Morrison does nothing and Miz keeps doing what he's doing. And I love Miz. Miz is great. He's one of my favorites. I hated him when he first came out, and then one day I was like, oh, he wants me to hate him. He's a genius. And I've been a Miz fan ever since, but I love Morrison too, and I think Morrison deserves better than what he's been getting.
I completely agree. And Morrison, like I said last week, he came from being a belt collector, winning titles in every organization that he was going to, winning world titles between wherever he was, between Lucha Underground and Impact. No matter where he went, he was winning world titles and collecting championships. And then the first thing he does when he comes over here is he gets thrown back with the Miz in a tag team, and I feel bad for the guy, but again, he may enjoy it, but then again, he might not. We'll never know until he leaves and goes on a podcast.
One day we might get Johnny Dynamite.
We may.
That's like the last name he would get.
After this, we had The Miz and Morrison versus Damian Priest in a handicap match. We ended up having The Miz and Morrison win this match with a roll-up.
Well, it's a handicap match, so it would have been really bad if they lost it.
But I actually liked this portion of it because, yes, it was a handicap. They made Damian Priest still look somewhat strong, to the point where The Miz had to catch him with a roll-up to get the win. So I was happy that they didn't have anybody really look too crazy weak in this. And Damian Priest, we talked about it last week. We didn't know where he was going to go from here. Now that Bad Bunny's being going on tour and everything like that. Turn them up in Discord. Yeah, give me 1 second.
Well, while he's doing that, let me talk about Priest for a minute. I like his look. I like his character. He's solid in the ring, and so I'm hoping good things for him. It's just what's next in store for him storyline wise. Is he ready for a singles title? Maybe not quite yet, but it would be good to see him in another storyline. He's not with Bad Bunny obviously, but another storyline for Priest would be really good to show us more of what he can do, and spotlight him a little more than it did where he was kind of getting the spotlight taken away from by Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
Yes, to the moon. Oh, I love Cameron Grimes. He's one of my favorites right now. Thank you, Ty.
I'm not a fan of Cameron Grimes.
I love Cameron Grimes.
But moving forward, after the match, Miz lost his pants. So Miz had to cover him up.
Maurice is covering him up, and he literally comes out in little Speedos every week. And she's covering up because he's in his boxers. What the heck sense does that make?
And then we had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Winners by count out, we had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I didn't like this match. I thought it was pretty lame. The
whole women's tag division is awful now.
It was a joke. This whole match was a comedy sketch to pretty much make fun of Mandy Rose slipping at WrestleMania. That's how I took it.
Yeah, and the thing is right now with Jax and Shayna Baszler on top of the women's tag team division, they're not really letting any of the other tag teams stand out. And we have all these women's tag teams, and a lot of them are now makeshift tag teams because teams got broken up and then repackaged together. But it's hard to see anybody really standing out. One surprising one that is kind of standing out, other than I like Mandy Rose and
Dana Brooke.
And Dana Brooke, yeah, but they're Natalya and Tamina. They're making them look really strong as like these legacy type tag team, which is really crazy because after all those releases, it still blows my mind that some people like Tamina are still on the roster. There's nothing wrong with Tamina, but what has she done in the 10 years or plus that she's been there? She hasn't won a single title. She hasn't had a major storyline, but they keep bringing her in. Yep. And it's hard to not think that it's because of family connection and not because they particularly like her or have plans for her.
Yeah, Ty says, please let the Riot Squad win the freaking titles.
Yes.
They've been together for so long and nothing. I completely agree with that.
Yes, I love the Riot Squad.
They're one of, if not the only tag team in the women's division. That's an actual tag team that they kept around. We did have the Iconics, but we know where they are now, which we'll talk about a little bit later. After this, we had the New Day versus Elias and Jackson Riker. The New Day get the win. I don't like the teaming of Elias and Riker, and I'll talk a little bit more about Riker a little bit later. But this match was mediocre at best. The New Day can carry pretty much anybody, and this match kind of showed that.
For sure. I love the New Day. Who doesn't love the New Day? They're always entertaining. Yeah. And they don't get boring. They change it up. month to month, they got something new and interesting. It's video games, or it's cereal, or it's pancakes, or it's unicorn poop. Like, they always got something silly, but it's interesting. And then they always still look strong, even though they're acting like a bunch of goofballs. And I love it.
Yeah, Ty said Feel the Power podcast. That's a
I love
podcast that I listen to every week, and I've listened to all the episodes multiple times.
You can tell that they just have fun too together.
Exactly. They just have fun.
Yeah, it's great. The way they can just remake themselves, and the amount of effort that they put into their attire and everything like that. You hear all the effort that they've done, that they've put in for everything that they've done on their podcast. If you don't listen to it, I highly recommend it. It's very, very good.
That's the thing about like performing on like any type of level is like if you're having fun, it's gonna be really hard for your audience not to have fun too.
I completely agree. We finished this match with a number one contenders, a triple threat match between Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, and Braun Strowman. We get, you guessed it, Drew McIntyre winning and being the number one contender for Backlash, for Bobby Lashley's WWE Championship. They love giving us Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, I think they want one more defense to solidify Lashley. They want to really show him beat Drew, because Drew's been the top guy for a year, a little over a year, and so this is their way of saying, okay, we're really saying that Lashley is a beast now. So he's going to beat Drew again.
I hope so. But we just kind of had this with Randy Orton too. Randy Orton beats Drew McIntyre, and a couple weeks later, Drew wins it right back. Hopefully, they do keep it on Bobby as a lure to bring Brock Lesnar back. I'm hoping that's why they're doing all this. But please don't put that title back on Drew.
So where does that leave Randy and Braun? Are they going to feud? That could be interesting.
I guess we'll see. They both have nothing besides... I mean, Randy still has his issues with The Fiend and Alexa Bliss, but I hope they don't over-stimulate us on that, because WrestleMania kind of made it a salty taste in everybody's mouth.
I think they did announce that Randy is going to fight Braun on Monday, tomorrow.
Did they announce that? I didn't see that.
I think I seen that earlier.
Gotcha. Well, to end the show, Drew McIntyre was celebrating. We get the Hurt. Why am I blanking right now?
Hurt-tribution?
Yeah. We had their music hit, and then we had MVP coming out to the stage by himself, and then Drew McIntyre was attacked from behind, not by the Hurt Business, but maybe. It was Retribution's Mace and T-Bar. How did you guys feel about this?
I'm all down for Dio Madden and Dominic Dijakovic to join the Hurt Business, but not Mason T-Bar.
I was just about to say that. I was hoping when they left, I got really excited when they left. My hopes was that they were going to take off the stupid mask.
Maybe next week or tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully. I guess we'll see. I hope they don't stay Mason T-Bar, because that's just dumb.
Yeah, give it time, hopefully, but that was stupid. They had the mask on. Hopefully, MVP will dress them up in suits and make them part of the...
Make it like a ceremony type thing tomorrow, where it's like, we're bringing out these guys, but they're no longer these stupid Retribution characters. Pull off the masks. These are real wrestlers, and can't believe they made them put these masks on as a joke, and now we're going to let them show what they can do, blah, blah, blah. You know, MVP will do his thing. MVP can talk.
Ty just said, why on God's green earth would they go from being lackeys to being lackeys? Exactly.
They're lackeys on TV.
Yep.
Being lackeys on TV is better than not being on TV.
That was the end of Raw. Mediocre Raw. Bad Raw after Mania Raw. But after this, on Tuesday night, NXT has finally jumped nights onto Tuesday night. We had NXT, which opened up with Karrion Kross promising a long reign at the top. Mediocre promo, in my opinion, but a promo nonetheless.
Ooh, see, and now we got to disagree again because I thought it was a really good promo from Cross. I was into it. I was believing him. I was like, this guy means business. He's scary, and he ain't taking no crap. Like,
I think I'm just not a fan of Cross. I mean, I was a huge fan of him as Killer Cross when he was on Impact, but I just haven't been able to get that heavy into it. I love his entrance. I love the entrance.
Oh, I love that entrance. That's gonna be one of the fun ones on the next WWE game to try to steal. But I knew of him in Impact, but I never really watched his work on Impact. But I dig his look, I dig his character, his intensity. Like, I think he's a good blend of everything you want in a wrestler.
Yeah, and I mean he's gonna be. I don't see him in NXT too crazy long. He's a main talent looking guy. I think he's gonna be on the main roster sooner than later.
The moon.
Oh God.
I thought it was like Scarlett's face during his promo. She kept making weird faces. I'm like,
she always does.
What are you doing?
Yeah. That's like her thing. And I don't think it's on purpose, but that's her thing.
Next up, we had the NXT Tag Team Championship match between MSK and Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. Ooh. This match was pretty good. Like I said last week, NXT doesn't know how to have a bad tag team match.
Always. Like, Killian Dane and Drake Maverick is probably not on anybody's radar right now, but, I mean, those guys, they can wrestle. They're good. Most people just think of Drake Maverick as a joke still. And now he's like Killian Dane's like mini-me.
Yeah, something. I didn't like them getting this match, but the match was good. I kind of figured that they weren't going to beat MSK on their first.
Nah.
So I didn't mind it too much compared to how it was. I'm really surprised that Travis said that everybody's going to be fighting over his entrance just like everybody was fighting over Aleister Black's entrance.
Oh yeah, the new fancy entrance or the new fancy finishing move, like yeah, everybody's gonna fight over who gets to use it.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of who he is right now. That forearm to the back of the head, I think Will Ospreay does it 10 times better. But that's just my opinion. I'm a huge fan of Will Ospreay, and he's been doing it for about 2 years now.
I think he needs a better finisher.
Yeah. Let's see. After that match,
the tag team match, MSK. They're really like. I'm surprised they're pushing MSK like so quickly, and they're not big names outside of WWE. Like they had a good run in Impact, but they're not big guys either. So it's really interesting to see how much that they're putting behind them. When typically when teams like that come in, they don't get that much of a push.
Yeah, I agree and disagree to the fact that they were big in Impact. The Rascals were very big with their third man included.
I guess that's just my ignorance for not watching Impact lately. Like, I haven't watched TNA much. Like, I catch, like, little clips here and there. But I haven't really watched TNA much since probably the end of Aces and Eights.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
I was all about the Aces and Eights.
Impact's viewership was at 157,000 people this week, which is extremely low. Where NXT, this is their, like I said, their first week on a Tuesday night. They did not break 1 million, but they got close. So not competing with AEW now did increase their rating.
Right, not splitting the audience.
Nope.
It's good for everybody if the audience isn't split.
Next we had Mercedes Martinez versus Jessie Camilla. We had Martinez picking up the win by pinfall in a decent match. This wasn't that great of a match. It was kind of a glorified squash match.
Yeah. It's always nice to see Mercedes, though.
After this, we went ahead and jumped into an NXT Cruiserweight Championship match between Santos Escobar and Kushida. Kushida getting the win and becoming the new NXT Cruiserweight Championship in a very, very good match.
It was a very good match. I agree. Mm-hmm. I was surprised that it was a roll-up for the win, but I like it. I like Kushida. Escobar is really good. it's about time they did something with Kushida. I'm a little surprised that he's, the cruiserweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was expecting maybe a North American title run or the NXT title run, because Kushida is big in Japan, and I'm surprised he hasn't been pushed nearly as much as some people like Shinsuke Nakamura was, or Asuka,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He wasn't. So I've been watching New Japan for the past 4 or 5 years now. Really ever since Okada versus Omega. And Kushida, while he was big, he was never really Shinsuke Nakamura level.
Okay.
And by that I mean Shinsuke was NJPW or IWGP World Heavyweight Championship material. Kushida was never at that level. He reached junior. That's about it. But yeah, he's very, very good. And the way he came in and he's looked like a dominant threat ever since. Locke just said I struggle hard with accepting that what Asuka or Nakamura got was a big push, in quotes, at the beginning of their main roster tenures. Yeah.
Nakamura for sure. I don't think got a big push. I mean, I know he was champ, but
not on main roster. I'm surprised Nakamura hasn't held the main title yet. Nakamura should have though.
Yeah.
I was at a SmackDown when he was set to debut on SmackDown, but he wasn't yet. They were just advertising it, and they just played his music during a commercial break, and the whole arena was excited, even though they knew full well he wasn't coming out. He ended up coming out for the dark match, which was great after the show, and that whole audience was into his entrance. And I don't know how or why they killed that, but like they could bring that back. And it feels like they might be with taking the lyrics out of his entrance music again. If they start making a bigger deal about his entrance again, like they could bring that back. But Asuka has been pushed since she debuted. I don't know what Trevor's talking about. Asuka has always been pushed.
She did have a little rough patch towards the beginning.
She's lost like 2 matches.
I think that's compared to her NXT run. She lost two matches alone to Carmella, back to back, which I think that's what most people remember, because after that she really didn't get pushed over the top. She was taken off TV for a little bit, but then she did pick right back up and was a dominant threat. So Asuka's definitely got a better push than Nakamura has.
She's obviously was undefeated in NXT, and that I didn't agree with. I thought she should have put over Ember Moon on her way out, and she didn't.
Yeah, I was surprised by that, but I'm really not upset by it, if that makes sense. After this match, we had the next match we had was Leon Ruff versus Isaiah Swerve Scott. We had Swerve picking up the win in another good match.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you guys want to talk about? That was a pretty standard match. We've seen this match quite a few times.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They fly around. They do their thing. Swerve's gotten really interesting with this heel run that he's doing. I like his character, but it's definitely away from being too bland as the face when he first came in. We just kind of jumped right over that whole segment with Rhea Ripley and Gonzalez and Bianca Belair all in NXT holding up those titles.
I did jump over that. I also jumped over one other thing. But Gravity said, didn't Asuka lose her first Mania? She did. That was her first loss on the main roster to Charlotte, which was a big shock.
Okay, so she's lost 4 matches.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much she's actually lost, but
she's lost once against Becky, and that's like all I could think of, except for maybe a tag team match or something.
So I also jumped over Frankie Monette interrupting Raquel Gonzalez championship celebration, which was very good. If you guys don't know who she was before, that is Tara. Why am I blanking on her name? Her last name is Valkyrie.
Taya Valkyrie. She's John Morrison's wife.
On her. Yeah. Which we all knew that she was going to be coming to WWE once we saw Morrison was staying around.
I had no clue who she was.
Yeah. She had a really good run in Lucha Underground too.
She did. I'm a big fan of Lucha Underground.
Same.
And then in the main event of this show, we had Dexter Lumis, Bronson Reed, Ember Moon, and Shotzi Blackheart versus The Way. Honestly, this was a really good match. I heavily enjoyed the little spot where Loomis carried off Hartwell because she acted her. I did enjoy that. But the result ended up Reed, Loomis, Moon, and Blackheart defeat The Way by pinfall.
Yeah.
It was a fun main event.
I like the team of Shotzi and Ember. Like, they make a good team. It was cool. They sent Ember back down to NXT and formed this tag team. They look really cool as a tag team. Bronson Reed is a beast. The things that he does for his size amazes me.
I don't understand what they're doing with The Way, though. Also, that's a stupid name for a faction. But
I kind of like it.
Well, they're ultimate heels, so if you think their name is stupid, then it's working.
That's true. Very true.
Like Johnny won at Takeover.
Mm-hmm.
Candice and Hartwell didn't, so it's 50-50 there, and then they lose tonight. So they're supposed to be a dominant faction, but losing a lot.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it to do with is they're giving. I think backstage, and this is just a random opinion or theory I have. That's definitely a play on words. This is about giving Austin Theory experience because they thought, oh, this guy looks good. He's got the look we like. He's got a cool attitude, and they pushed him, and then something must have happened where they're like, oh, wait a minute, he's not ready yet. So I think they're giving something for Austin Theory to do where he can benefit from listening to Gargano and get some experience being a lackey for a little while. But I definitely think that they like Austin Theory, and there's going to be big things for him. They're just, getting him a little more experience.
Austin Theory got pulled for other reasons because he was teaming with Seth Rollins and Buddy
I remember
Murphy. So he got pulled for those
even before
other
that,
reasons.
he was with Andrade and all them, and then he dropped that and went straight to Seth Rollins, and then they dropped that really quick. So he's only with each of them for like barely maybe a month.
Yeah,
so it's kind of weird.
I am a big Austin Theory fan. I feel like Cody looks more like Tony Nese than Theory. I don't think I look like either of them, to be honest with you.
He does one of my favorite finishers, the ATL,
he does the ATL.
Or the shoulder lifted.
I actually like his Evolve finisher way more than the ATL. It's called the Ataxia. If you haven't seen it before, after the show, I would definitely go look at the Ataxia. It's a very crazy looking move. He can't do it on everybody, but I have seen him hit it on Keith Lee, so there's hope. But Keith Lee's also a freak athlete. Moving on to AEW on Wednesday night. Not the first time, but this is the first time for the future that they are going to be solo on Wednesday nights. And for the people that said that AEW would never pull over 1 million viewers, they pulled 1.27 million viewers. So they definitely hit that 1 million mark and jumped straight over it. They pretty much took all of the numbers that NXT had, just combined them in there, and that's where they're at.
I just saw what the Ataxia was. That looks pretty cool.
I love that move. It's actually on 2K20 as well.
Is it?
Unfortunately, yeah, it's my finisher on 2K20, but we don't use 20. We use 19.
I did the story mode on 20, and then I gave up on it.
So we had AEW open up. We had it open up with the Young Bucks, who were wearing a pair of $10,000 shoes apiece. Jordan 1 High Dewars. Very, very expensive shoe.
the crowd was chanting that they were fake or they were knockoffs. It was hilarious.
I do feel like they were fake just to make them wrestling shoes.
Probably.
Because the soles on wrestling shoes are different, so they don't tear the mat. So I do think they were fake, to be fair. Because I don't think they.
Hilarious, though,
yeah,
audience.
I don't think that they bought the shoe and then tore the soles out, which would be ridiculous for a $10,000 shoe. It's insane.
I could not imagine spending that much money, even if I had Young Buck money. I don't think I could spend that much money on shoes.
They could have had them special made. I mean, they got that kind of money.
Yeah.
They could have got them for free because they're celebrities.
That too. Pimp our shoes.
Free advertising.
So after this, we had MJF confronting Mike Tyson. MJF attempts to give Mike Tyson a blank check to try to buy him, and Mike Tyson rips it up and bites it and spits it back at MJF's face.
Mike Tyson.
That's hilarious.
Hilarious.
A nice little bite as a homage to what he did to Evander Holyfield.
Yeah, but he apologized for that though.
He did, but he definitely did that on purpose.
Yeah.
The first match
during that segment though, all I could think about was like what MJF is thinking right now, because I mean he stays in character pretty well and he plays his role pretty well, but this guy has barely been in the business, and now he's face to face with Mike Tyson on TV. Like 3 years ago, that would have never been something he could imagine was going to happen to him.
No, he's so good though. He's so good as
He's a good character.
So the first match we had of the night was the AEW Tag Team Championship match. We had Rey Fenix and Pac versus the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks ended up retaining in a very, very good match. Rey Fenix got his mask ripped off and ate a super kick while he was covering his face.
That was a cool way to finish the match.
Mm-hmm.
It kept him look strong. Made him look strong still, even though they lost. Yeah. But I don't think these two teams together could ever put on a bad match.
No.
I watched the match twice. I watched it and I really liked it, but then, through the grapevine, some famous wrestling critic gave it 5 stars. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go watch it again just so I didn't miss anything.
He did. He did give this match 5 stars. And if anybody's questioning who we're talking about, it's Daddy Dave Meltzer. He gave them 5 stars for this match, which I don't think it was as good as the match at Revolution between the Young Bucks and Adam Page and Kenny Omega, but it was a very, very good match. For a tag team match on television, this was very good.
Yeah, there was a lot of good back and forth action. Death Triangle was amazing. Pac and Rey Fenix, they worked together, and you would expect, Phoenix and, his brother Penta El Zero M to work, fluidly as a team, but maybe Pac would be the third person. But he jumped right in there as if like he was Penta. They did so many cool things together that like you have to be on the same page to do. You have to practice a lot.
Yeah, I mean, all those guys are so good in the ring. Phoenix is one of my favorite wrestlers right now. Pac's been great forever. He is the last person to beat Kenny Omega in a singles match. Just incredible guys.
You were a Lucha Underground fan, so you definitely know, like, Phoenix versus Prince Puma were just amazing matches.
And I'm hoping Prince Puma gets a little boot so we can see that once again. But we'll talk about that a little bit later.
You still don't know. Prince Puma is Ricochet.
I want to know how AEW has a great tag team division. NXT has a great tag team division. SmackDown and Raw just are awful. And I know
AEW has a good one too.
Yeah, I don't know what WWE's doing anymore. I really don't.
I don't understand why they don't. I don't know why Vince doesn't like it. I'm like, the fans like it, obviously.
It's been a very long thing going, but Vince McMahon sees tag teams as just a vehicle to get somebody popular to possibly be that main event person.
Yeah,
he doesn't see tag teams as main event. And every
been,
once in a while we get the anomalies, like the Hardy Boys or the New Day. But most of the time, and even then, he tried to break up the Hardy Boys how many times? Like, he doesn't like to keep tag teams together too long because he doesn't want tag teams. He wants someone to be that next breakout star, and you can't break out if you're in a tag team.
Yeah, Vince hasn't
according
been a big
to
fan
him,
of
anyway.
them. Yeah, Vince has never really been a big fan of tag teams.
It's a means to an end in his eyes, you know.
Ty says SmackDown and Raw are awful in both men's and women's tag teams, but hear me out. When they try to create tag teams, everyone brushes them off and calls them random makeshifts. But they are.
Yeah, they are. Like, Gable and Otis, like, why did you break up Heavy Machinery to do Gable and Otis? We could have, like, I would have liked Heavy Machinery.
Travis.
I hope they don't break up the Street Profits, because I know Ford's going to go on to be a single competitor at some point, but don't break him up. Just have him do his thing too. They can
Travis said that even with the Hardy Boys, Jeff was always the bigger star, and I completely disagree with you. I think Matt has had the better career in professional wrestling as a whole.
I agree with you, but I think what Travis is saying is that they considered Jeff the star of the team.
They did.
He was the younger high flyer. He had the pretty colors on that, you know, that the alt community liked, you know.
Yeah.
And like I've always been a bigger Matt fan, personally, but that's because I don't know, I see things differently than other people.
Yeah, I mean, in WWE, Jeff was the bigger star. If you look at Impact, if you look at PWG, if you look anywhere else, Matt was the bigger star.
Matt became bigger.
Yeah, Matt had Jeff Hardy pops too, especially when he came back with that feud against Edge. But Trav doesn't want to hear about that.
Yeah, I would agree. In WWE, Jeff was the bigger star, but in wrestling as a whole, I would give that accolade to Matt. But moving on, because we have been on this for a minute.
AEW?
We had Red Velvet versus Jade Cargill. Pretty decent match. Their women's division has grown and gotten much better. Jade picked up the win because they are pushing her to the moon.
To the moon.
Then we had an interview.
They said that was like her fourth match ever. Yeah. I mean, it probably wasn't, but she does look really good for being so green.
She's an absolute stud in the ring, to be honest. Then we had Tony Schiavone interviewing Britt Baker. She was pretty much saying how the women's division rankings are all garbage and they don't mean anything. And that's pretty much where that went.
Well, she was pointing out that with her win, like, if she wins, then or if somebody wins, she's going from third to second because that would put her ahead of somebody else. So I didn't think she was saying it was garbage, but she was saying that she's about to go up it because her record is going to be better.
She's been talking negatively about the rankings for a couple weeks now. So, I mean, I think this is just where she's going with it. And even when she lost to Thunder Rosa, she pretty much was talking about how she should be higher than Thunder Rosa, but she's not, and everything like that. The next match we had was Anthony Ogogo versus Cole Carter, which Anthony Ogogo, if you guys do not know, was an Olympian. He did win a medal in the Olympics for boxing. And he won this match by referee stoppage after one nasty body shot that dropped Carter.
That finish was so awful.
People are saying that besides boxers. So boxers have jumped into this on Twitter, and they say a nasty body shot like that is a finisher.
No, I'm not arguing that it can't be. What I'm saying is how many times in a match does somebody get punched in the stomach and do exactly what that jobber did, and the match kept going?
Yeah.
Like, the ref stopped it after
it was
1 second of a doof. Yeah, he stopped it because the dude fell down after getting punched in the stomach. Except watch every other match on the card. anybody who got punched in the stomach probably fell down, and the ref didn't stop the match. Like, if he had went and checked on the guy and milked it a little bit and then stopped the match, okay. But he was just like, oh, he's on the ground. Match is over. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
I agree. It is what it is. It's just Shota Gogo as a dominant force and as
they just could have done
a primary boxer. I agree. After this, we had a message from Miro who says, I have no idea where Kip Sabian is, but anybody with gold, be prepared. So he's pretty much announcing that he's going to go after a title now, and he's no longer with Kip Sabian, as of right now at least, which I think that's a very good move for Miro to jump out of that and get into some more serious matches and not arcade brawls.
Miro, I'm so hot and cold with Miro because they wouldn't let him be himself in WWE, but now that he is being himself, I'm like, okay, maybe we need to give him a little bit of guidance because this him being himself character thing, it doesn't quite work.
Yeah,
so
he's
maybe
having
we
fun.
Get somewhere in the middle. Yeah, he's definitely having fun, but we get somewhere in the middle between what WWE was doing with him and what he's doing with himself right now.
Yeah, and I think we're getting to that point. Yeah, I think we're getting to that point now with him announcing he's going to go after champions. In the main event, we had Chris Jericho versus Dax Harwood with special enforcer Mike Tyson, who had a nice knockout blow in this match. Winner was Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was a good match. It was kind of crazy and everywhere between Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. Inner Circle getting the one-up, and they get Mike Tyson as a member of the Inner Circle.
Right. So that's pretty cool. They bring in Mike Tyson, and Jericho and Mike Tyson buried the hatchet. And I definitely like this whole, Inner Circle has turned face, and Pinnacle is now the top heel faction. And it kind of works because now it's bringing up, like a lot of people complain that why are we seeing all these guys that like they've had their time, they need to go away, but they're not seeing the magic that's behind it. That like Jericho is building characters, he's building up NJF, he's building up all these characters so that they can be there when he rides off on his cruise ship and does his concert. But and I like it. So now this is the opportunity for Pinnacle to become the major heel faction. And tonight they didn't look strong, but that's tonight. Next week it'll be a whole different story.
I agree.
I mean, it was one-on-one match, and like you said, Jericho's the best, so losing to him isn't going to be like hurt you.
Nah. Especially as a quote-unquote tag team wrestler.
Yeah. The next match on the card, we had Chris Statlander and Amber Nova going head-to-head in Chris Statlander's first match back. It was a squash match, nothing really to talk about. She hit her supernova and got the pinfall victory.
I like Chris Statlander, even if she needs to come up with a new finisher name.
Boop. Touching the noses out there. Everybody, get your noses touched. Yeah, after this match, we had an interview with Team Taz. Team Taz attacks Christian Cage after he turns down their offer of joining them.
You knew he wasn't going to join them.
Yeah, we all kind of saw this one coming.
So the question is, who is going to help Christian against his newfound rivalry against Team Taz? Because he can't do it alone, right?
I guess we're going to find out. After this, we had a Falls Count Anywhere TNT title match between Big Money Matt Hardy and Darby Allin. Darby Allin ended up retaining after doing a coffin drop through the announce table. This was a very good match.
Yeah, Matt's had some health issues and he's getting a little bit older, but he still puts on great matches. You know, you can say I'm biased because Matt's one of my favorite of all time, but he still puts on great matches, and I think what he's doing right now with Darby Allin is definitely it's good for Darby Allin, especially because they're definitely trying to make Darby seem like the new Jeff Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
So that coffin drop, oh man, that coffin drop was insane. And
I love that finisher.
I thought about that when I was like younger. I was like, what if you did just backwards like senton? That would be so cool. And so it's cool to see somebody actually do it now. I think that's a cool move.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
I love Darby.
Darby's really good, you know, and that's another thing that I love about what they're doing here now in AEW. That I mean, WWE's starting to come around now, but AEW is like, we don't care how big or small you are. Like, you can still be the wrestler, the one that wins the matches, the one that everybody cheers for. You know, it doesn't have to be all the 6'5" steroid guys that wins everything now.
Yeah. But that concluded AEW. We are running a little behind, so I'm just going to skim through SmackDown really fast. It was a basic show anyway.
It wasn't that great either.
Yeah. So I'm just going to skim through it. We had Pat McAfee announcing that he's joining the SmackDown announce team. We started out with Roman Reigns being the head of the table. And then we had Rey Mysterio versus Otis. Mysterio picks up the win. Then we had Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Owens defeated Zayn via countout. And then we had the SmackDown Women's Championship celebration with the Street Profits involved as well.
That was cool.
Yeah. SmackDown Tag Team Championship match followed that with the Street Profits losing after the celebration to Ziggler and Rude.
Ooh, can we stop right there for just a second?
Yeah.
I was watching this, and I'm a huge Ziggler fan, but Ziggler never wins. And he never wins with the zigzag. And he won with the zigzag. And I was like, when was the last time that happened? I can't think. Like,
I think it's because you haven't seen him win it as a solo guy in a while. So I think that's the problem.
Yep. But even then, like, he'll hit the zigzag and never get the pin, and they'll still kick out. So it was crazy to me that he actually got somebody the 3 count with the zigzag. Now, granted, there might have been some stuff going on right before the zigzag, but the record book is always going to say that he hit the zigzag and pinned him for the win. And I was like, what? That never happens.
Following this match, we had Natty versus Shayna Baszler. Natty picks up the win with a roll-up. And then from earlier in the night, when Cesaro went in Roman Reigns' face and pretty much showed that he's going to be the next challenger for Roman, he faces Jey Uso in the main event, and Cesaro picks up the win via disqualification.
I love me some Cesaro, but I'll get into Cesaro when we get to the pay-per-view, because I want to talk about that too.
Disqualification happened because Seth came in and started fighting him. From leftover from Mania.
So give me 2 seconds. So the next thing that I wanted to bring up was the releases. So as I go down this list, we can talk about it once I'm finished. So we had Samoa Joe, Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, Mickie James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, Mojo Rawley, and Wesley Blake all released. Honestly, a lot of these were pretty obvious that they were going to get released if cuts were coming. I did not see, however, Samoa Joe, either of the Iconics or Kalisto. Bo Dallas is really heartbreaking to see. Mojo, I like Mojo, but
I've never really liked Mojo. And honestly, I feel like he would have got cut last year if it wasn't for his connection to Gronkowski.
Yep, I completely agree with that. But yeah, I mean, this was spring cleaning. Surprised we haven't had anybody from NXT go. The part that I wanted to bring up about Jackson Riker is he's still here, but the guy that he was tag team partners with Wesley Blake is now gone.
Is Steve Cutler still there? Or did he get let go too? He got let go already, huh?
He had
like a New Year's party. He had a New Year's party
and got released because of it. So we've seen some Twitter interactions going on. A couple of these people are going to be making a name for themselves other places. Peyton Royce, I just find it funny how she was on Raw Talk just a couple of weeks ago and said to let her go and see what she can do.
And they did.
And they took that literally, and they released her.
What's more surprising is Billie Kay pinned somebody at WrestleMania, and then the next day she's gone.
Yeah.
She was given a stupid gimmick too, and she was getting it over the whole.
Yeah.
What I really want to see, so I saw this online, and I would love to see this. Somebody actually said that we should see Billie Kay show up in other wrestling companies, i.e. Impact and AEW, with her resume.
With her resume.
And trying to get a job. And just getting passed off until she hands it to somebody like Don Callis or Tony Khan, who then brings her on board, which I think that would be a great way to introduce her to a company.
Yeah. I don't care for her wrestling ability. Like, honestly, like Peyton Royce had the better ability than Billie Kay, and so I'm not sure that she's gonna do much because Billie Kay, I don't see her talent-wise as being a decent wrestler.
How good of friends they are. I see them sticking together. Travis actually said, sometimes this helps careers. Go make a bigger name elsewhere, get better stock in your character, and come back to WWE and get paid more, a.k.a. Drew McIntyre. But the thing with Drew McIntyre is the wrestling company was in a bad place. The wrestling industry was in a bad place at that point in time. Yeah. And where we're at now, these people can get paid much more money even going somewhere else. So WWE is not the end-all be-all anymore.
Right. So Thunderbird is saying that Samoa Joe's injury-related. From what I heard, Samoa Joe actually got cleared to wrestle, but WWE doesn't want him to wrestle. So I think he might have wanted his release so he could actually wrestle somewhere else.
Yes. From what I've seen, he is getting the Daniel Bryan treatment where his doctors are saying he's cleared. The officials at WWE are saying he's not cleared. He wants to get back in the ring. He's not getting cleared through WWE. WWE's had enough of it and pretty much tossed him. Which he is cleared through his own doctors, so technically he could wrestle for Impact or AEW right now.
The other idea would be that they released him from his talent contract, but might sign him to an employee contract as a commentator.
And they could. I mean, the last thing he did was stand out in the pouring rain for WWE at WrestleMania. So
if he knew ahead of time that he was going to be gone, that would have been hilarious. I would have I'm sick of this. But it's WrestleMania. Would you really walk out of WrestleMania?
I don't know.
If they told me that I was going to be on screen scrubbing toilets at WrestleMania, I would still do it because it's WrestleMania.
But it's just hard because we're not professional wrestlers either. So it probably hurts deep down inside a little bit that he's not in the ring at WrestleMania. I'm sure he's happy to be there in general, but I know that he would much rather be in the ring for this event.
Fair point.
The fact that he never held the belt in WWE is awful.
Unless you treat the video game as canon.
All right, so now to our main event, which is Extreme Rules 2014, which you see right up there. So this was held in New Jersey. Attendance was 15,907 people. And me and Trevor both enjoyed this heavily. So that's why we decided to talk about it with everybody. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the pre-show. I know that, I don't know if, Trevor, did you go back and watch the pre-show?
I did not watch the pre-show. I mean, they show
this was the best pre-show of all time.
Yeah. It's sad because the pre-shows aren't on Peacock. I had to find it on YouTube because the pre-shows aren't on Peacock. Oh, I wanted to point out not that anybody would care, but this happened on May 4th, 2014, which was the day before I turned 28 years old.
Nice.
So I actually had a birthday party watching this.
Oh, you had a birthday party watching this?
Yeah, for myself. I barbecued and we watched it. It was great.
So this pre-show was one of the greatest pre-show matches I have seen in my entire life.
Up there with Neville and Austin Aries.
Oh, absolutely. This is the famous We LC match between El Torito and Hornswoggle. What an amazing match, especially in the pre-show.
Oh, man.
They can call it comic relief if they want, but these two put on a really good match.
Yeah, well, the match was amazing, but also, like, they really... Oh, and let's preface this by saying that if we accidentally say anything offensive to any little people out there, that is completely by mistake. Most of the things we're talking about were on TV, and we're just commenting on them. We didn't come up with the names like Micro Cole or JB Elf or Jerry Smaller.
Yeah, they had their own announce team. I mean, this was a spectacle in itself. I actually have a picture of the match
crowd was
card
into
up
it
there.
too.
But yeah, the crowd was into it. Big pops throughout the match. What a great match overall. El Torito ended up picking up the win. But this match was amazing, and Drew McIntyre even took a bump in this match. So.
Oh yeah, he did a front flip and went through the table.
Mm-hmm. He did.
He was talking about. They were like, "Why did you do that?" Because El Torito moved off the table like super early, like before Drew was even halfway across the ring, and so he was like, "Oh, I was already going. I might as well keep going."
Yeah, it was a great match. We're not gonna stay on it too much because it was a pre-show match. This is if you have not seen this match, it is on YouTube. Go on YouTube. Watch We LC Extreme Rules 2014 pre-show. It is amazing.
And then also watch the video of 3MB watching We LC because that's funny too.
It is. So the first match on the actual card. Sorry, I got a dip, Cody. I need to finish up. Oh, you're good. Thanks for coming out. The first match we actually had on this card was a triple threat match. Elimination triple threat, I might add, between Cesaro, Rob Van Dam, and Jack Swagger. This is when Cesaro was a Paul Heyman guy, and Jack Swagger had Zeb on his side. The first one eliminated was Jack Swagger after he took a frog splash. And then Rob Van Dam went up for a frog splash to win against Cesaro. Cesaro had a steel trash can on his chest. He moved but kept the trash can there. The frog splash happened onto the metal trash can, and then he also ate a neutralizer for Cesaro to pick up the 1, 2, 3.
It was a really good match, and Cesaro is always good. And I remember, it's so crazy, because I was saying I wanted to talk about Cesaro. This was 7 years ago when Cesaro was getting yet another, seemed like they were finally going to give him a push, and then it fizzled. And what are they doing right now with him on SmackDown? The same exact thing. So hopefully they'll finally actually give us a Cesaro push that we've been dying for, because he is so much better than they let him be.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually have match cards for every single one of these matches, but I keep forgetting to switch it over. But yeah, this was a great match. What a way to start the show, though, to open the show. The actual show, not the pre-show.
Right.
Absolutely great way to kick things off.
Did anybody else think Rob Van Dam did the Rob Van Dam thing a little too much in this match? He did it like 4 or 5 times at least that I remember.
He's always been like that.
Yeah,
always.
That's how he's always been.
Yeah, it's just I hadn't watched him in a while, and it's just like he really does this too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely gets old after a while.
Just do the damn jump.
Yeah, but this was a very good match. 2 of these guys are not with the company anymore, but are still wrestling elsewhere. And then we got Cesaro finally on another push 7 years later.
Rob Van Dam was just there the other day. He went into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he was showing his rolling papers, remember?
Yeah,
that's true.
He's hucking his rolling papers, hanging out with Riddle.
After this match, we did have a squash match. Let me switch that card. Look at that young Xavier Woods. So we had Alexander Rusev against R-Truth and Xavier Woods. Rusev went ahead and took out Xavier Woods before the match even started, then continued to beat down on R-Truth and picked up the submission win with Accolade.
This is before he lost his first name?
Yes, this is before he lost his first name.
And
Alexander Rusev.
Before New Day.
Yep, before New Day.
Pre-New Day.
Yeah, I always liked I want to call him Austin Creed now because of that picture. Him and R-Truth, because they were actually TNA Tag Team Champions, and people don't ever remember that because originally R-Truth won it with Adam Pac-Man Jones, but then Pac-Man couldn't stay, so
Yeah.
Austin Creed, or he was Consequences Creed in TNA, stepped in. But people don't remember that he was actually R-Truth's tag team partner in TNA way before he was in WWE.
Yeah, and Xavier Woods has actually talked about it on the podcast that he's always debuted, and everywhere he's gone, he's debuted as R-Truth's friend, which makes him mad. But this is another case of it.
Debuted as Road Dogg's friend, so
that's true. Got to give it back, you know. So this match was a squash match, nothing much to talk about in it. But the next match we had was an Intercontinental Championship match between, Big E and Wade Barrett. Champion was Big E, who lost his title here.
Bad news.
Thank you, Queen, for the host. Yeah, I love Bad News Barrett. Just the I've got the bad news.
Yeah.
What a gimmick.
Watching this match back, I was like, wait a minute. Did this match happen in 2021 too? Because it's Big E, and he's got the Intercontinental title, and it's like he just lost the Intercontinental title, and they're finally giving Big E this singles push, but wait, no, he had this push 7 years ago, just like Cesaro had this push 7 years ago, and then they didn't do anything with him. It's like rehashing 2014 all over again.
Well, yeah, you know how they say that your taste buds change every 7 years? Yeah,
it's true.
They do the same thing in WWE with rehashes.
Yeah, maybe Big E tastes better now that he's covered in pancake batter.
Oh God, we're not gonna dig into that. This was actually a very, very good match. Wade Barrett went through a tournament to get into this match. In that tournament, let's see who he defeated, if I can find that tournament again. Because
let's see, he beat Rob Van Dam in the finals.
He did beat Rob Van Dam in the finals. Yeah, I can't find the actual.
He went through. So the first round of the finals was Mark Henry and Cesaro, RVD and Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus and Jack Swagger, and Dolph Ziggler and Bad News Barrett. And then the second round was Cesaro versus Rob Van Dam and Sheamus versus Barrett. And then the finals was Rob Van Dam and Barrett.
And then Barrett taking the win and winning the IC title as well. After this match, we had arguably my favorite match on this card because I'm a big fan of The Shield. We had The Shield defeating Evolution in a very, very good match. They got 20 minutes for this match. Just the storyline building up for this match was very, very good. Like I said, I'm a big fan of The Shield, as is all three guys of The Shield. And I was a big fan of Evolution a long time ago when they were together.
I liked the matchup and the way of kind of Evolution trying to pass off the torch, so to speak, to The Shield. Because The Shield was definitely a very Evolution-esque stable.
Yeah.
I love the crowd chanting Bautista.
Yeah. That was great. Yeah. Batista wasn't a fan of that, though.
No, they roasted this man the entire match.
And this is why he didn't come back for so long, is because of that. Like, he felt like he wasn't appreciated.
Yeah, they absolutely bullied this guy. So during the match, we had Triple H, Pedigree, and Reigns, and Batista pin Reigns for a near fall. Orton RKO'd Reigns, but Rollins broke up the pin. Let's see. I enjoyed this once it got into the fans.
It's hard not to.
Yeah, with Rollins diving off the balcony, which you couldn't even see him up there because of how they had the camera, and then he just surprisingly jumps down onto Triple H and Randy Orton.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I loved it. And then we had Roman Reigns in the ring with Batista, who ended up getting a Superman punch and a spear on Batista for the win.
Ty said that was basically an anime fight. So Reigns went Super Saiyan? That's what you're saying?
Massive Dean Ambrose fan by Bat. We don't say that name anymore. We say John Moxley.
If it was an anime battle, then it would have had to have gone on for at least like 4 episodes.
That's true.
With a lot of inner dialogue.
Yeah, we would have had to seen some backstories. It would have lasted at least 4 to 10 episodes, no in between. After this match, we had Bray Wyatt versus John Cena in a steel cage.
I like this match.
Nice,
I like the build for this match.
I definitely like the idea of the cage is keeping the Wyatt family out, but it ends up backfiring. And
how they jumped and hit him and through the ring, or when he was on the cage, or holding the door and fighting with him there.
I'm surprised it took them this long to go through with it, though. This match was 21 minutes long.
Yeah, I love this version of Bray and the Wyatt family.
Same.
Yeah, Ty actually was talking to me earlier. He said that he missed the cult leader, Bray, which I completely agree with that. I think this version of Bray right here is way better than The Fiend.
I agree. I think that there's room for both. I think somebody else could have gotten the Fiend gimmick, and we could have still kept our cult leader.
Dallas. But
yes,
no,
I know.
He's gone.
That's been my theory for over a year, that if they gave him some tattoos and he gave him the hair, he could be Bray, or he could be the Fiend, and Bray Wyatt could still be Bray Wyatt, and they could be in the same place at the same time. But
maybe they just released Bo Dallas so you wouldn't know that's what their plan is.
Ooh, smart.
Big brain plays.
They just pay Bray double. Tell him, here, pay your brother.
I did enjoy this match, for what it's worth. Sorry, I'm fixing something on the stream. But yeah, this was a very good match. That surprisingly, John Cena didn't bury another faction.
Yet.
Not next.
I mean, it took three dudes, 2 of which are much larger than him, and a small child, and to beat John Cena. I would say
that was creepy. That child was very creepy singing.
That makes me curious if that child could have possibly been what's his name? The kid that ended up winning the tag titles with Braun Strowman.
Nicholas?
Nicholas.
When they were doing the promo in the back with the Wyatt family after the match, and the kid was there, and Bray was just going on and on, the little kid was giving him a look like, dude, you are crazy. Seriously crazy. He just had that look on his face like,
this is true.
The hell is going on?
Yeah, but again, this was a very good match on this card. But the next match, we had a Divas Championship match. Yes, Divas Championship match. We had Paige defeating Tamina.
Another full circle with like what I was saying about Tamina earlier is like they have her in this championship match 7 years ago. Like, what has she done since then?
Wasn't she out hurt for a while? Maybe she just wasn't on there. Yeah, I know.
Ty said
just bring her in.
Ty said that he feels like it fit the story that maybe Bray couldn't beat him alone, but the power of his followers, he can do anything, which I agree, that was the gimmick at the time with the Fireflies. Yeah. Locke said, hates the way they keep having these issues with Bray. I ran him with the Undertaker for 30 years, or they ran with the Undertaker for 30 years. They can't cut Bray some slack, which I agree with that 100%.
Well, Undertaker had some breaks there too for a while. It seems like he was there for 30 years, but there was some breaks.
He had some breaks. He had gimmick changes. Yes, his gimmick changes, other than American Badass, were very subtle, and they kind of stuck to the same thing. He was a cult leader, everything like that. But he did change up over the years multiple times.
Yeah, they just keep dropping the ball with Bray. Every time they build him up. Oh, we're just gonna shit on the gimmick now. Lose the title. Like, he didn't need the title.
Yeah,
I didn't feel like I shouldn't have gave him the title, honestly.
How many times did they do that with like Mankind and with Kane, who are similar characters when you think about it?
Mm-hmm. Multiple.
Yeah.
Ty said they need to let Bray do what he wants. Yeah, I completely agree, but he's not going to get that because he doesn't have creative freedom.
Back to the women's match. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I think we're just not talking about it because this match, while it was okay, it kind of proved that WWE really didn't care about the women's division at this time.
The big butterfly belt.
Yeah, they got 6 minutes. They got
it looks like my tattoo.
This was the shortest match on the card other than the Rusev match. But it was only 3 minutes longer than the Rusev squash match.
Yeah, it was impressive to see Paige be able to put Tamina in the PTO, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't call this match bad. It was good for the time that they were given.
They still weren't getting the whole hours that, well, not hours, but longer matches that they get now these days.
Yeah. And then on to the main event, we had Daniel Bryan defeating Kane in a very, very creative match. I love this match. This is one of my favorite matches, especially in Extreme Rules history for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Just the fact them going backstage and then Daniel Bryan knocking Kane out, and then he's like, oh, well, we have to finish this in the ring. How do I get this giant human being back in the ring? So he throws him on a forklift and drives the forklift out. Not only does he do that, after he drops him back into the ring, he climbs up there, hits a diving headbutt off of the forklift. Ends up throwing Kane through a table that Kane lit on fire himself, then hitting a running knee strike to pick up the 3 count.
Yeah. After he went through the table, a bunch of guys came in and iced him down with the fire extinguishers, and he stumbled around awkwardly and got in the ring. And I thought that was kind of funny, but it added a little bit to it because it seemed weird because Kane's been on fire before and didn't particularly care that he was on fire, but then all of a sudden fire extinguisher on him and he's like, get away from me.
Yeah, I love this match. I mean, from top to bottom, this was almost 23 minutes. They gave them plenty of time. Ty said that was a genius transition. I completely agree. Getting them from backstage to in the ring. Innovative using the forklift. Nobody saw that coming. There was so many spots in this match.
And the headbutt off the forklift too. That was like, I've been a big Daniel Bryan fan, but I'm also a big Kane fan, and I feel like he was underrated for a long time. And so I love to see him not only in the main event but for the title, because he had like a 1-day WWE Championship reign, and that was it. And so he's always been considered main event, but he never ever actually gets to be in the main event for the title very often. So it was nice to see. And this was a rehash of their Hell No feud that they had before, but it was different this time. And I loved Team Hell No. I love Daniel Bryan. I love Kane. So this was all around just going to be a good match. You knew it was going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
They could not have one.
Trevor?
Yeah, like you guys said, great match. Loved the fire spot and the forklift. And Daniel Bryan was obviously the one that needed to win or keep the belt, because didn't he just win it like a month before or a few months before at Mania?
Yeah,
He
he won
wasn't
it at
that
Mania
long.
the month before.
Yeah,
Or,
and
yeah.
Yeah, right after this is when he went on to get surgery, and I know Stephanie McMahon had threatened him to either surrender the title or she was gonna fire Brie, so Brie just quit and slapped Stephanie. So that was a cool storyline too.
And this was just after that because there was a promo before this match of her going in and saying that that Daniel should just give up because she's never seen Kane act this way. And after what Brie did
she
to her
can't
last
control
week,
him.
yeah. And after what Brie did to her last week, she pretty much wouldn't care what happened to Daniel Bryan.
Stephanie is so good at playing this character where you know she's against you, but she's trying to pretend like she's not. Like very like administrative, like middle management type boss type. Like, oh well, this is gonna happen. I'm sorry, I feel bad for you, but this is still gonna happen. Like,
Yeah.
except no, you have control over this. You want it to happen. You're just evil.
Yeah. Overall, this card, top to bottom, was very, very good.
Oh yeah.
I really can't say I disliked any of these matches, even the pre-show. I mean,
especially the pre-show.
Yeah, especially the pre-show. I give the pre-show 5 stars, to be honest. But yeah, this was top to bottom, great card. This is why it was one of my favorite cards, at least in the past 10 years, easily.
Ty said McMahon's are god tier heels. I wouldn't put Shane at that level.
Shane's a better face.
Yeah, and
Shane's a better face. Especially this feud with Braun that he was doing, it was
Terrible.
just so cringe. It was cringe.
Terrible.
He was trying too hard to be a bully.
Yeah,
like
a 6'10",
like,
500-pound guy getting bullied.
Nobody's gonna believe that you can bully this 7-foot dude. Like, we could find some way to get, sympathy on Strowman, but being bullied is not it. Like a love angle or a family angle, like when they ruined Big Show's dad's funeral or something like that, or maybe somebody can grind up Braun Strowman's pet dog and feed it to him, and we'll get sympathy for him that way. But not this. Oh, poor Braun Strowman, he's getting picked on. Like nobody believes that.
I hate bully gimmicks, so lazy and bland. Yeah, and they happen all the time. I mean, Braun's been the bully in
unless
these
you're
gimmicks
Bully
before,
Ray.
So. Yeah, I love Bully Ray though.
How do you have a guy running around backstage, literally tossing people, and then, oh, you're being a bully to this guy? He was literally throwing people around backstage like 6 months ago.
Shane was great when it was all about the insane bumps he took, but he's never been too good as a full-on character, in my opinion. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
He's taken some crazy bumps over the years, though.
Yeah.
I mean, even going back against
I think that's how
Kurt
he stays
Angle,
in
going through the
Vince's
glass panels. And then even all the way up to today, just getting thrown off of a cage by Braun.
Yeah. But yeah, those glass panels, that moment is crazy. That's one of my favorites. That King of the Ring.
Do it again.
Yeah, it's so brutal, though, because the panels didn't break, so they had to do it a bunch of times, and the thud of Shane's head hitting the ground when it didn't break.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, kudos to him for keeping it going and not stopping the match and just saying, keep throwing me until it breaks. That's just insane.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to stay in the will, right?
That's true. That's true. Versus Undertaker off the top of the
Gotta
cell.
get that inheritance.
Yep. Yeah. But that was Extreme Rules 2014. Do you guys have any final thoughts on this?
Good pay-per-view.
Yeah, the pay-per-view was good. Go ahead, Trevor.
Miss the Wyatt family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brody Lee.
Rest in peace, Brody.
Ooh. Yeah.
Dev, you got anything else?
Oh, you know what? I was wondering if you guys caught the Stone Cold sessions with Chris Jericho.
Yes.
I have not.
Yes, I did. Trevor, you should definitely go back and watch that because it is great, and they talked about AEW way more than you would think.
Yeah, they name dropped a lot more people than you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was, I mean, a lot of the information was about, Chris Jericho, which, if you're a Jericho fan, you probably already knew if you've read any of his books or followed his career at all. They touched on a lot of the basics, like
Gravity said no spoilers.
Okay. No spoilers. Okay. Well, they had a good talk. They had a few drinks.
Yeah, they talked. I mean, yeah.
It was funny.
Stone Cold was drinking? No.
Honestly, this is the longest.
Jericho's known for drinking too.
This is the longest episode of Broken Skull.
It was over 2 hours.
It was over 2 hours. So when you get 2 hours to spare, definitely go watch that. It was great.
Yeah, it was really good. It was nice to see a little bit of them talking about the night that Jericho beat The Rock and Stone Cold. That's not a spoiler. You should have known that by now. It happened like 20 years ago.
He downloaded it for camp next weekend off Peacock. Yeah, very good idea.
Oh, Peacock can let you download stuff. I didn't know that. Now I know.
But yeah,
he said that earlier. You got to have the $9.99 package. I think he said.
Yeah.
Oh, I got the half off $5 one.
You got whatever comes with my Xfinity.
Oh. I think you might have.
Damn it, no spoilers. Damn it, Devin, no spoilers. But yeah, we're done talking about it. You got another 2 hours though, so it is what it is. But that is all we have for the week. That hit your Week in Wrestling and Extreme Rules 2014. Next week, I know that Trevor will not be here. I have to talk to my wife to see what we are doing next Sunday because I know that my sister does have a baby shower on Sunday, but I think we may be back on time to do the show. So I'll find that out in the next couple of days, and I'll talk to you, Gravity, and Locke. We can talk about that. If I am able to do it, I will need a partner in crime for that episode.
Oh, excuse me.
I'll keep that in mind. And then I'll also think about, if we are doing it, I'll think about what show we're going to do. Because like we said before, Peacock does not go back that far. So we are going to have to do a somewhat recent pay-per-view. Dai's trying to cough louder than everyone else. But yeah, thank you all for showing up. Like I said before the show for the past week, if you showed up tonight, if you were seeing in chat, I did take some notes. You will be rewarded on my show, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. Any final words, Trevor?
Make sure you tune in and watch. Is there a podcast tomorrow or Tuesday with Locke and or Gravity and somebody?
It's a great question. I could look on the calendar really quick, or he can just say if he's doing it or not. Either or works.
Then of course we have the GM show on Wednesday, and I think
Slyco booked the Wednesday show. It looks like to be a pretty good card.
It's the music review. Yes, they were doing the... I forget who they were doing, and it just came out. It's
Staple Gun?
That's the name of the guy that's doing it with him.
Offspring.
Offspring. Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, Sly's show is on Wednesday, and then Ty's pay-per-view, he's doing a partial pay-per-view show for his birthday on Thursday this week.
Ooh, nice. Nice.
So we do have two guest GM shows this week.
Locksteady on Saturday with Smalls. They're doing It Takes Two.
Such a great game. I'll be out to watch that for sure. But yeah, definitely show up. Dev, do you have any final words?
No. I've got nothing. It was a pleasure being on this week. thank you for having me. I hope to be back again.
Not
if
a
I
problem.
wasn't too awful.
No, I think we could do this again one day.
I feel like I kept stepping on Trevor. So Trevor, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to step on you. Please talk.
Oh, you're fine. We step on each other. We're getting used to it.
Do.
We're all learning.
Yeah, we step on each other a lot. But yeah, as for me, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Actually, I'll be streaming tomorrow. I am at a toss-up between two games. I promise I will get it down pat to where you guys will have a week notice on what I'm doing. Yes, tomorrow is Monday, so I will be streaming. Whenever there is not a pay-per-view on Sunday, I will be doing the podcast on Sunday, and I will be streaming on Monday. So that's how it's going to be from now on. I have it down to 2 games right now. Don't know what I'm doing yet. I'll most likely have it down tonight and let you guys all know.
What are the 2 games?
It's either going to be Rocket League. I've also been talking to Locke, and I got to talk to Travis about it, about potentially doing GTA RP. I've been having a good time playing that off stream, so bringing that on stream I think would be really fun.
It's been a while, and I'm not that good, but I have Rocket League.
Yeah, and if I am doing Rocket League, I will be doing more of a community night sort of thing, so anybody can join in. But until then, thank you all for showing up. If you did show up, you will be on my card next Wednesday. Again, thank you very, very much for coming out. Good night.
The following announcement has been paid for by the